The Baboons is a 1.2 million acre wilderness area famous for its rugged terrain, inaccessible valleys, and close encounters with wild animals. Baboons translates to Valley of Baboons, and when Nicole and I were invited here a year ago to shoot monkeys and baboons, we had one of the best hunting experiences ever, as we made camp deep in the mountains, shot many monkeys with both air guns and centerfires, and were able to enjoy being disconnected from the rat race of normal life and enjoy the things that really matter. This year we've been invited back, and so with the Hilux loaded full of camping and hunting gear, we begin the long trek over the mountains. A day's journey through some of the most beautiful terrain South Africa has to offer. Over the next 4 days we'll be setting up a number of PCP air guns and firearms and heading out in search of monkeys, baboons, dassies, and even some hares with a thermal. It's going to be epic, so stick around and follow along on the adventure. I tell you what, it's been about 5 or 6 months since I actually put this this vehicle in low range. That's way too long. So it's about time.
Yeah.
Ready for a nice long trip over these mountains. Ready for a few days of camping and hunting. What an awesome combination, and I think we're in for a treat over the next few days. What you see behind me here is the Baboons Valley. This is going to be our stomping ground over the next 4 days. It's a big area. There are tons of monkeys, baboons and dassies down there. So we're going to be kept busy over the next few days, both with the firearms and the air rifles. Our camping spot is going to be up this cliff to my right over here, all the way into these mountains. It's going to give us some shelter, some shade, and just a nice quiet spot to settle down every evening, set up the rooftop tent, make a fire, and just soak in all the sounds, smells and sights all around us. But first priority is to get down to the valley, meet our hosts, and get the rifles zeroed and just prepare for a few days of pure awesome. We pull up to the farmhouse and greet our host, Yaku, who will be guiding us around the area over the next few days. The main priority right now is to check zero on all of our guns after the rough ride over the mountains, and Yaku's front porch makes for the perfect shooting range. Perfect. Got a nice solid tripod, and you put this straight on the tripod. So over that one spot, remember the one evening we shot dassies in the rock face? This on a tripod there, it'll be so nice. So first things first, we've just arrived here at the farmhouse and said hello to Yaku. We're going to check zero on all of these guns because I did a very basic zero at kind of 20 meters or so at home, but I want to zero all of them at 50. And then I also want to shoot at a longer range and just make sure that we validate the BCs and make sure that our drop data that's been given to us by the Kestrel rangefinder, Element Ballistics app, etc., actually matches what we're seeing. You've also got a couple of new guns and new scopes here, so I'll run through them one by one. But this one on this nice compact impact is the new Element immersive 5x30 prismatic scope. Perfect fit for this gun. I think this is going to be more our, close contact monkey shooter. Last time we were walking through the bushes at some points and had to take quick shots at monkeys. This scope with a 5x magnification is going to give us a decent field of view, but it's also going to give us some really nice hold points for taking quick holdover shots. Very compact, easy to point, amazing field of view, amazing clarity. So we'll put the scope cam on, we'll take some shots so you can see it for yourself. Nice, dead center pretty much. Bring it down another 1 or 2 clicks. Perfect. Now let's go for that gong there at 160 or whatever you said it was.
No, 165.
Yeah, 165. So it should be around 6.7 mils. Yes, this gun is accurate. Yeah. So this impact is my 800mm impact, shooting 40 grain javelins, and this gun actually hasn't changed a lot since last year. It's the same gun, same barrel, same ammo, everything, same scope. We've just put a reflex silencer on here instead of the traditional silencer that we had last time. Put it on a 580cc 300 bar bottle instead of the 700cc, and we have changed out the longer arc rail here to a little Crafton lipped arc rail. So nice and compact, perfect for some longer shots on monkeys, but we're gonna do the same thing, shoot at 50 and see what we can do. Bring it up 0.2, that should be good. It's so nice with the Theos and the Nexus Gen 2, which I'll show you in a moment, to not have to set a zero stop using Allen keys. Everything is tool free, makes a big difference. And then there's this, ladies and gentlemen. Everything here is new. You haven't seen any of this on my channel before. Well, you've seen the Panthera on my channel before, but you saw it in North Carolina when we were doing sort of a pre-launch introduction to it. This is my Panthera. My first time actually hunting with it now. Just got it a few days ago. This is very much a factory rifle. We haven't added any hammer weights or aftermarket springs or anything. Everything's factory. The grip is factory. The chassis is factory. The only thing that's not factory is the weights that we've added just to get it nice and balanced. I've got a couple of the FX weights over the barrel also. Got a Donny FL silencer in front, and then we've topped it off with a new scope. This is a Element Nexus Gen 2. At the time of filming this, the scope is not available to the public yet. We're launching in June. I think we'll launch in June or July, somewhere around there. But this is it's the same chassis as the Nexus Gen 1, but it's now a 4 to 25 times magnification, so way more diverse than the 5 to 20 that we previously had. And then we've got a turret system that more resembles what you know from the Theos. So it's got the same revolution indicator that the Theos has that flips from 1 to 2. It's got the same zero stop that the Theos has, but it's got 10 mils per revolution instead of 12, and slightly smaller diameter turret. Same capped windage, same push button illumination. It's a really awesome scope, but obviously you'll learn a lot more about this setup over the next few days. Right now I'm just excited to shoot with it. Reg is set at 165 bar, and with reg at 165 with a standard 700mm Panthera, no modifications, I'm getting 40 grain javelins at 990 feet per second, which is actually pretty insane. I don't need more than that. So let's take a few shots and see where she's at. I'm actually going to go clicks below 0 straight away. If the other guns are anything to go by, that should get us relatively close on the money there. Let me get the scope cam set up too. Oh, spot on. Slightly right, but that I think that's a bit of wind. There you go, spot on. Oh, same spot. Same spot. Cool, so I think with this gun, I think we need to go straight out to, what is it, 165. And what I'm going to do here, okay, it's telling me 6.9 mils. Now again, I need to check my Kestrel to get weather updates. The Element Ballistics app has a weather function, but you need an internet connection to get your weather from here. If you have an Element Hyper 7, you can get your weather straight from the weather sensors on the Hyper 7, but if you want to put your weather in the app, you need to get it from an external source, either like a Kestrel, or you need to use the function here where it gets weather based on your location through an internet provider. Obviously no signal here, so we can't do that. So we're going to just go with what it says, and then we'll make an adjustment along the way. So 6.9 mils. Okay, slightly right again, so I do think there's a bit of wind there. Hold left edge. Spot on. Oof. Okay, I got 2 shots there right on the right edge. I'm going to hold a little bit more. I'm going to hold half a mil. There you go. Well, elevation is perfect, so I'm not going to touch anything. That is awesome. Cool. You'll remember last time when it came to firearms, I very much favored the 22-50. I only took the one shot with the 260, and that was at the Baboon that was out in the Rosemary fields. But the reason that I've switched back to the 260 is that you'll remember that shot at the Baboon up in the mountains last time. The wind just took that little bullet. Those little 50 grain VMAXs are very susceptible to being pushed by the wind, and they're also a bit small for bigger animals like baboons. The good thing about the 22-50 though is it's low recoil and it's flat shooting, so between 100 and 250 meters where you normally see monkeys, your margin for error is much better when it comes to your elevation. So we found a happy middle ground. I've kept the 260, but I've loaded a 95 grain VMAX, which is shooting about 3,450 feet per second. So it's shooting really flat like the 22-50 was, but it's going to give me better wind drift. Slightly more recoil than the 22-50, but it should be manageable enough that we get good scope cam footage on this trigger cam. So we've got that little gong at 160. We should hit it because I zeroed this rifle at 100 meters the other day. But let's give it one click up on the Helix HDLR 216x50, which should once again be a really awesome choice for shooting monkeys and baboons. And let's see what we can do. So we'll hit record here. We'll get nicely focused on the target. We started with a quick zero check. I had to bring in a click or two to the left, and we then validated trajectory by engaging a steel gong at 750 meters. Boom. So that's 750 meters with almost a 22-50. The 260 shooting the 95 grain VMAXs. It's quite a long way for these little bullets actually. The wind's pushing it about a mil, which is quite a lot. But elevation as well, it's a few clicks off because we didn't update the weather and we had a slightly higher altitude, so it's shooting a bit higher than what I expected, but we can do that truing process on the app as well and get it nicely matched up if we get an opportunity for a long shot. Awesome. 260 doing its job. That's great. And lastly, the little 22-50, which we wouldn't be using much on this trip, but an important backup rifle nonetheless. And as we expected, it was absolutely spot on. Did I mention I love this rifle? A quick coffee at the house and with the winter sun starting to dip lower on the horizon, it was back in the bucky and on the road in search of a camp spot. Well, we made it to camp, and we've actually decided to park off at the exact same spot that we camped for 2 nights last time. Our fireplace is still here, a little ring of rocks that we set up. The grass is a bit taller than we would have liked, so we're going to be walking through some pretty tall grass, but I'm sure we can stamp it down in due time. But sun's just gone down, so first things first, let's get the rooftop tent up, let's get the awning out, let's get the lights on, let's get the firewood out, and let's start building a fire. It's getting pretty chilly, but we'll be warm in no time. Really nice to be out here again in nature, and I think we're in for a good night. What's nice about having a fridge slash freezer like this is that in the freezer compartment we can store frozen food like meat and stuff like that for the next few days and just defrost it as we need it. And then in the fridge section we've got, you know, everything we need from bacon to cheese to drinking yogurt just for snacks throughout the day, to our supper for tonight, which is chicken sausages. So we're gonna have chicken sausages. We're gonna take some garlic bread and cook that up as well. Nicely balanced meal, typical Dubber classic, and that should be a great way to end the day off. As you may or may not know, I really love my coffee. Some might call me a coffee snob. I prefer the term enthusiast, but I've kind of gone full circle in my ways of making coffee while camping. Making coffee is a great way to pass the time while camping, and obviously it's a great way to just relax as well, around a fire or just sitting in your camping chairs or whatever. Instant coffee is not really my thing, so when camping I always try to think out the box in terms of how to make coffee. I started with an AeroPress a few years ago, which works really well, but it's not that great at making coffee for more than one person at a time. The best tasting coffee in my opinion while camping is from a mocha pot like this. This is a Bialetti Bricca. It's the one with the pressure valve on top that allows the unit to kind of build pressure to around 1.5 bar before it pushes through and extracts the coffee. But once again, it's a mission to use. You've got to like heat this up, and then you've also got to boil water separately if you want to make a full cup of coffee. So I use this on special occasions only. What I've really enjoyed lately is the jet boil. I've known about the jet boil for a long time and known that it's a very efficient way to boil water, and it boils water really quick. But what I like about the jet boil is you can actually get a plunger attachment for it, like this one over here. So you boil the water, it takes literally like 2 minutes. You put a few spoons of coffee in, and then you literally push the plunger down. It seals nicely, doesn't leak around the sides, and it sits inside the lid like this. So push it all the way down, couple minutes later pour out your coffee, and you can make coffee for a decent group of people. So Jetboil I found is really convenient, and I think we'll be using that over the next few days. Well, you might get the impression by watching a hunting channel that I spend most of my time out in the bush like this, sort of out in nature, roughing it, all of that. But the reality has become quite far from that, actually. When I started my channel, that's what it was like. I was out almost every week filming hunting. But as I've got more involved in the shooting industry through Element Optics, or even, you know, going to shooting competitions and trade shows, the less time I've had out in the bush and the more time I've had to spend sort of behind a computer screen, whether it's answering emails or being on Teams meetings, or, you know, working on designs for Element Optics or whatever, or just editing videos actually, which I won't complain about because I really enjoy that stuff. But coming out here is something quite special. It's nice to be able to switch off my phone and just chill. Yeah. This is actually the first trip we're doing the whole year. We had SHOT Show, we had Iwa in March. I've done one or two small videos like the chronograph review that we went out and filmed, but that was a sort of a quick one morning thing, and it's not quite the same as this, where we get to come out here and for a few days just switch off phones and enjoy nature and really get involved in the whole culture of air rifle hunting. The reason that we're showing you the camping side of it as well is that it's kind of what it's like hunting here in South Africa. You go out to remote areas, you know, out here in the mountains, stuff like that. That's where the monkeys, baboons are. That's where the dassies are, in the cliffs. I think air rifle hunting can be a number of things. For a lot of people, air rifle hunting means, you know, you live in a city, you pop out quickly to a local feedlot or dairy and you shoot pigeons or rats, and that's cool. That's one of the enjoyable things about air rifle hunting, is you get that volume shooting in. You can shoot 200 doves or pigeons in a day. That's awesome. I think for me personally, I've done that so much that it becomes like the same thing over and over. This is a bit more of a challenge for me, coming out here and having to glass around and look for dassies, or to work hard to find that monkey and take that long shot and dial in for the shot. That's something quite special. So I'm not the kind of guy who needs the massive air capacity and needs like 100 shots per fill. I'm the guy who's happy with 5 shots per fill, because that might be all I get. So if you see me really enthusiastic about the shots I take, it's most likely because we've worked hard for them. But yeah, we're looking forward to the challenge over the next few days, and hope you follow along with us. Nothing like the hiss of marinade dripping onto the coals and the roar of the jet boil in the background to whet your appetite. And we were looking forward to finishing the day on a high note before the early start tomorrow. Well, there's our 4 chicken societies. These should be really good.